What up, gamers, retro enthusiasts, and collectors? Welcome to the first episode of my channel's new series, Retro, where I look at games from the past, whether lesser known, cult classic, or genre defining. It's your boy Shake, and today we're taking a trip down memory lane to revisit a classic gem from the Nintendo Wii era. I'm talking about Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Ultimate All-Stars. This crossover fighting game brought together iconic characters from two different worlds and gave us an unforgettable gaming experience. Let's dive right in. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's set the stage. It's November 2006, and Nintendo introduces the world to motion-controlled gaming with the Wii. The system is flying off shelves and returns Nintendo to a prominence it hasn't seen since the days of the NES. Just 2 years later, in 2008, Marvel, the iconic comic book publisher, is establishing itself as a film juggernaut with the theatrical release of Iron Man. Capcom, the famous Japanese game developer and publisher, is continuing their work on its popular franchises like Street Fighter and Resident Evil. But fans were speculating on the future of their beloved Marvel vs. Capcom fighting series. What does it all mean? Sounds like the recipe for something unexpected, but wholly special. After legal issues and losing the Marvel license for the greater part of a decade, the likelihood of another Marvel vs. Capcom game was slim. Thankfully, Capcom began having discussions with famed Japanese animation studio Tatsunoko Production for its next crossover fighter. While the name Tatsunoko may not ring an immediate bell for people in the West, one of their most recognizable properties, G-Force Guardians of Space, saw a resurgence in popularity airing on Cartoon Network in the early 2000s. But not to get it twisted, Tatsunoko is legendary in the land of the rising sun. In May 2008, Capcom announced Tatsunoko vs. Capcom Cross-Generation of Heroes. The game would be built on proprietary hardware based on the Nintendo Wii, with beta arcade cabinets being tested in Japan later that summer. In December of that year, the game was released in arcades and on the Nintendo Wii, which by then had become a global sales behemoth. Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was a groundbreaking installment in the storied crossover fighting series. While Marvel vs. Capcom 2 had 3D backgrounds, it still utilized the 2D sprites we know and love. However, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was the first game to be fully rendered in 3D. The game was developed by Aiding, which is mostly known for their anime fighters, including the really awesome Naruto Clash of the Ninja series on GameCube. Tatsunoko vs. Capcom released to a critical reception, sparking a huge demand to be brought stateside. Plus, this was the first new entry in Capcom's crossover series to hit consoles in 8 years. There wasn't a single interview or preview event where Capcom's then community manager, Seth Killian, wasn't asked about the game. Localization seemed out of the question, as securing the licensing rights to the various Tatsunoko characters for a Western release seemed challenging. Somebody called Tom Cruise, we've got a Mission Impossible. Then, in an act of wizardry or legal magic, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was revealed to be coming stateside by Nintendo Power, now rebuilt with the new subtitle Ultimate All-Stars. The game would make its playable debut at Nintendo's booth at E3 2009, and fighting fans rejoiced. This version of the game would feature new characters and online play. Due to copyright issues, some Tatsunoko characters had to be replaced with others in the international version, making it a bit different from its Japanese counterpart. The game was released on Wii on January 26, 2010. The Nintendo World Store at Rockefeller Center in New York City even held a pre-launch event with the game's producer, Ryota Nitsuma, in attendance. One of the most significant changes in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom compared to its predecessor, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, was the shift to a 3-button attack system. The game's standard control setup included light, medium, and heavy attacks, along with a partner button mapped to the Wii Pro controller's face buttons. Tatsunoko vs. Capcom's gameplay was simplified in an attempt to make the game more accessible to newcomers and the Wii's casual audience. The game even featured a control option for players using just the Wii remote. While this made the game more user-friendly, it didn't compromise the deep combo system we love from the series. This control setup would go on to influence the direction of Capcom's future crossover games. Now let's dig into some lesser known facts about this game that you might find intriguing. Number one. Did you know that Tatsunoko vs. Capcom featured an exclusive character not found in the original arcade version? Roll, the lovable sister of Mega Man, joined the roster complete with her iconic broom and bucket. Her inclusion was a delightful surprise for fans of the Blue Bomber. Number two. Beyond the Tatsunoko and Capcom characters, the game had a few surprise guest characters. One of the most notable was Frank West from the Dead Rising franchise that was wildly popular at the time. Armed with his camera and a plethora of makeshift weapons, Frank brought his own unique flair to the battle. Number three. Capcom's crossover fighters always include a team-up mechanic that allows for spectacular, over-the-top tag team combos. But Tatsunoko added that special sauce with the Mega Crash, a defensive technique that allowed players to break out of enemy combos. The mechanic added layers of strategy to the gameplay and made every match feel fresh. Number four. New to the Western release was online multiplayer, allowing players to battle it out with friends or foes from around the world. While the Wii's online capabilities were somewhat limited, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom still provided an enjoyable experience. As I wrap up this retrospective, it's important to contextualize the legacy of Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. It's clear that Ultimate All-Stars holds a special place in the hearts of fighting game enthusiasts. Its blend of accessible controls, diverse character roster, and unique crossover appeal made it a standout title on the Nintendo Wii. Although it didn't reach the same level of competitive play as some of its predecessors or headline Evo, it remains a cherished gem in the fighting game community. Most importantly, Tatsunoko vs. Capcom was the blueprint for Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which many consider the peak of Capcom's crossover series. Many elements from the controls to the animations were directly inspired from Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. The DNA of Tatsunoko lives in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Although Tatsunoko was originally conceived to be a more mainstream, lower barrier of entry into the fighting genre, it laid the groundwork for much of what we see in popular fighting games like Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's worth noting that on November 7th, 2012, Capcom USA's senior vice president revealed that Capcom's rights with Tatsunoko had lapsed. This means that Capcom is no longer authorized to sell Tatsunoko vs. Capcom physically or digitally, adding a layer of rarity and nostalgia to the title. So don't expect a digital remaster of this one. So there you have it, folks. Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. A game that not only broke new ground with its 3D visuals, but also brought two worlds together for epic battles and offered hours of fun with friends. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend finding it and giving it a try. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through gaming history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with more Retro. Until next time, keep gaming and may your combos always be flawless. Peace.